Hello everyone, back tuning into today's video. We're going to have a look at the weather for the next week to 10 days, or today's video, which will take us to around the 20th of February. We'll be able to extend out beyond that the extended GFS and ECM ensembles they run to around a couple of weeks. And we'll have a look at CFSB2 at the end of the video for the next 4 weeks, taking us well into the early part of March, of course. So it's a wild weekend with Storm Kira. We're going to begin by showing some of the pictures that have been shared with us, of the footage that's been shared with us of the impacts of Storm Kira. If you would like to have your pictures or videos featured within the videos at GavsWeather, all you need to do is email them to us at gavsweathers@gmail.com, or you can share them with us on our social media accounts or post them in the comment box at gavsweathers.com. And we're always happy to feature your pictures in videos when we get the chance. So we're going to begin with this one. This was shared with us on Facebook by Lee Stone. This is showing flooding down at Bidford in Devon. And this one also from Lee Stone showing a tree down at Ilfracombe. Again, in Devon, so really wild down there in the southwest of the country. Richard Trott picked this one out, showing a tree down in Wigan yesterday afternoon, looking really quite serious there. And these were emailed to us by Andy Price. This is damage in the East Midlands. Not sure exactly where in the East Midlands, but tree down on top of the house there. So that looks quite nasty. Another tree down over the top of the house there. Again, that's from the East Midlands too. And this one showing a tree covering a road in the middle of the East Midlands somewhere. Yesterday, so that looks pretty nasty as well. Then we have had some footage shared with us through the GavsWeather's Twitter page. So if I just scroll down, we have a look at this one. So this is from Oldham Weather, our good friends at Oldham Weather at Chad Weather, showing that was, or saying that was the best, most intense school line I've seen. And there you see it, hashtag Storm Kira, and there you see the school pushing through along that very, very active cold front that we had coming through yesterday. I've heard reports of lightning, thunder, hail, and of course you can see the squally driving rain sweeping through on those severe gale force winds as well on that school line. So things were wild in Oldham, to say the least, yesterday. This one was shared with us by Graham L, showing an aeroplane trying to land at Luton Airport. So that looks a bit dodgy, doesn't it? You wouldn't want to be on that aeroplane while that's being buffeted about in those winds. I think it attempted to land twice and then eventually diverted, but you can see it being blown around as it's trying to come into land, and I think in the end the pilot gave up on it and give up, and they got diverted somewhere else. So that would have been a pretty nasty experience beyond that plane as well, I think. We've also got this one from Castleford Weather, showing river rising fast in Castleford. So as well as the winds, of course, there was a lot of heavy rain yesterday, and maybe the impacts from the rain side of Storm Kira were a little bit under forecast, perhaps, because there was some pretty nasty flooding. Of course, it's been so wet for so long, and although the river levels and that have gone down a bit in January, because January wasn't as wet, because it had been so wet before, it's not going to take much rain at all and to get these water levels rising up again. So any sort of very wet weather, and we can expect to see the rivers continuing to keep rising until we get a protracted period of sort of 2-3 months of drier weather, I think. So looking pretty nasty there in, that was Castleford. This shared with us by Lucy, showing not calm in West Berkshire, and again trees down, split in half. Andrew Allett showing very heavy rain over Cottingham East Yorkshire yesterday. This one was from Neil Petherick, showing a trampoline being blown around by the wind. It looks like it was tethered though, so it didn't go flying off into the neighbour's garden, but nevertheless looking pretty serious there. And so on and on it goes. We've got this from Owen Griffiths, showing again things looking pretty wild, wet and windy in not sure where Owen is, so that's somewhere in the country yesterday. And this from Keith Farrow, showing absolutely torrential rain as the squall line reached Chippenham in Wiltshire. And big thank to everybody for sharing their pictures and their videos and so on with us on social media and emailing them to us. As I say, if you want to have your footage featured within the videos, what you need to do is share them with us on our Facebook and Twitter pages, or you can email them to us at galslovers@gmail.com, or alternatively post them in the comment box at galslovers.com. And we're happy to feature your footage in videos when we get a bit of spare time. But certainly it was a very, very memorable weekend of really disruptive and wild weather, and things are still pretty nasty out there too, although winds aren't quite as severe. We're still going to be talking about 70 to 80 mile an hour gusts around southern and southwestern coastal areas this afternoon. We're also turning things colder as well, so showers are turning increasingly wintry across the northern half of the country. Snow will probably come down to low levels tonight. We covered this in Snow Watch, of course, on Saturday night, so it's expected. Showers, though, coming increasingly down to low levels in the northern half of the country by tonight. And there's no more persistent rain coming across central parts of England and Wales at the moment. That's producing a little bit of snow and sleet over higher ground as well. And it looks like the unsettled weather is set to continue. So these are the 500 millibar high anomaly flowcharts for the next week to 10 days from the Penn State University. We've got the ECMWF on the top and the GFS, which I'll have in a moment, is on the bottom. So 500 millibars is an area in absolute high pressure and low pressure. I've been moved around by the jet stream. Red extrapolates high pressure, blue to low pressure. Look at this, being the pattern of winter throughout the winter, below average heights, with the ECM being placed over and slightly to the north of the country. A strong westerly Atlantic jet stream coming across the Atlantic into northern parts of Europe. There's a ridge of above average heights that's sitting just to our southwest, and so on and on it goes. That's in 10 days time, or 7 to 10 days time. It's a mean anomaly for the week to 10 day time frame. And yes, it continues to be Atlantic driven, it continues to be zonal, continues to be very unsettled. In fact, it's such a deep trough of low pressure again, very close to the country, dare I say it could even be rather stormy. And the GFS is virtually identical, slight differences, but it's got the above average heights to the south, and then it's got the deep trough of below average heights, below pressure to the north. A strong westerly jet stream comes across the Atlantic into the UK and much of northern and western Europe, and so again it just continues to be very unsettled conditions. They're both in the same area, really. They're both singing from the same hymn sheet, which is very unsettled conditions continue up to the 7 to 10 day time frame. Remains very zonal and very Atlantic driven, to say the least. These are the GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles for the next couple of weeks. The red line is a 30-year upper air temperature average for Ilfracombe. We're looking at Ilfracombe today. Thought we'd look there, given that one of our picture senders sent us a picture from Ilfracombe. Down there in Devon. So we start off pretty chilly at the moment. I'm having a little cold snap as the air is coming out of eastern Canada and Greenland across the Atlantic. Lasts until around the middle of the week. Then the second half of the week into next weekend, we'll see the temperatures lifting up. Becomes quite a lot milder. Again, do a bit of a dip in the temperature there, sometime around 18th, 19th of February, and then again, relatively mild as we go into the final week of the month. Precipitation-wise, so plenty of rainfall spikes coming up. Bear in mind, this is down in Devon, so it's going to be very exposed to the low pressures coming in off the Atlantic, so it will be one of the wetter places in the country. This amount of rain might not be representative of areas to the east, but nevertheless, it looks unsettled. It is going to be unsettled. Certainly in the next week to 10 days, we can expect regular bouts of rain come through. Could be a little bit of wintriness in the north as well with this colder snap, but regular bouts of rain coming through in the next week, 10 days. And overall looking very unsettled even into the extended range. Absolutely no sign whatsoever there of a drier period of weather in the next couple of weeks. Temperature anomalies from the 10th to the 18th of February, near normal for England and Wales, a little bit below average though for Scotland and Northern Ireland. This is one of the cooler weeks that we've had this winter. I would expect that these will trend milder in the coming days though. And precipitation anomalies from the 10th to the 18th of February, overall a little bit wetter than average, or quite significantly wetter than average. Really, it's a clear-cut signal. Another unsettled week in this very, very unsettled winter that we have had and are continuing to have. That's how the GFS is looking for Thursday. So on Thursday, we're bringing a little area of low pressure in off the Atlantic. That will bring some rain, possibly some hill snow with it. Then we go into Friday, and a deep area of low pressure is another storm whipping itself up in the Atlantic. That's bringing heavy rain and strong winds across the country. That sets us up for what could be a very unsettled weekend as well. This is a really deep area of low pressure just here on Saturday, 6 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, west of Scotland. It looks like that sort of runs into the north and west of the country. So for Scotland and Northern Ireland, that could give some severe gale force winds next weekend. All areas having a strong blow as well over the weekend. We need to wait till nearer the time frame to firm up on the detail on that. We go up towards the beginning of next week, staying unsettled again. We've got another weather system coming in from the Atlantic, bringing more rain. Going a little bit colder behind that, with winds swinging back into the northwest there, coming off Greenland again. So that could probably bring some wintry showers there. And then as we run up towards day 10, we start to try and build up a little bit of a ridge from the southwest. So it's trying to go a bit drier there by day 10 with this particular GFS run. But overall, it still is looking really quite unsettled. It's also trying to go quite a lot colder across the northern parts of Europe with this trough of low pressure. So the GFS by day 10, GFS 6 o'clock run by day 10, is trying to change the weather pattern a little bit to something drier and colder. But there's so much energy in the Atlantic, but it doesn't really come to anything. And so just beyond day 10, here we go again, another deep area of low pressure winding itself up in the Atlantic, this with a central pressure, I think, of 950 millibars. So it's a very, very deep area of low pressure there. Again, that's just bringing another bout of wet and windy weather, and off we go again, off and running into another spell of westerlies. And so it goes on, just absolutely no end to this. Right way up to the end of the GFS run, which gets to the 26th of February today, we're still Atlantic driven, still bringing westerlies, further bouts of rain pushing across the country. So the GFS is very, very unsettled today, as we saw within the GFS upper temperature and precipitation ensembles graph, of course. That's a GEM, so again, low pressure coming on off the Atlantic on Thursday. That could bring some rain and hill snow with it. Then into the end of the weekend, wet and windy weather sweeping across the country. Atlantic unleashed and zonality goes on. In a week's time, we're roughly where we are today, bringing in a chilly northwesterly wind out of Greenland. That goes on to the early part of next week, and then we start to try and raise heights a little bit down to our southwest, but overall still remaining in a largely westerly and Atlantic-driven type pattern. ECM, once again, we've got rain pushing across the country on Thursday with some hill snow associated with it, then a deep area of low pressure whipping itself up in the middle of the Atlantic on Friday. Turns us wet and windy next weekend. This could be another bout of severe gales pushing across the country late Saturday into Sunday over the weekend, followed by colder air from the northwest again, roughly back where we are today, this time next week, with winds in from the northwest, wintry showers, particularly to northwestern parts of the country, and quite a cold west-northwesterly wind. And it just carries on. This never-ending train of low pressure continues to rattle through. That's how we look as we get to day 10, which is Thursday, the 20th of February. So bringing in a rather cold and northwesterly wind again there. and wintry showers, particularly in northern and western parts of the country. And of course, we've got the next low that's waiting over towards Newfoundland. That will undoubtedly get caught up in the jet stream. And a couple of days on from that, probably around 22nd of February, we would expect another bout of wet and windy weather. And so the pattern continues that we've been in throughout the winter. This is the precipitation type forecast based on that ECM run from tameteo.com. So as I say, I've got some snow in the north today. Snow showers packing into northern and western Scotland. Snow showers across Northern Ireland. Some snow showers in northwest England, particularly over elevation, but a little bit coming down to lower levels. And even some wintry showers possible for parts of Wales and the North Midlands, I think, this afternoon as well. Overnight tonight, the showers will sort of pull back towards those western northern coastal areas and could give a covering of snow, particularly across parts of western, southwestern Scotland, possibly some parts of northwest England, maybe Northern Ireland, getting some snow showers and covering of snow tonight as well. Tomorrow, again, those wintry showers are primarily in the north and west. You see very few, again, through to the east, but one or two could push through, maybe give a few wintry flurries across eastern areas, but primarily these showers are where the winds are, where you're exposed to the wind from west to northwest. So that is western Scotland, southwestern Scotland, Northern Ireland, northwest England, north and west Wales, and also down to southwest England, although they're primarily of rain, except over the moors and over high ground. Then we go up to Wednesday. Rather quiet today on Wednesday. Showers tending to die back more towards the coast. Late Wednesday into Thursday. Here comes the next batch of wet and windy weather coming in from the Atlantic. Mainly rain for England and Wales. A little bit of hill snow over Wales, perhaps. Could be more generally snow, though, as you get to the north of Northern England into Scotland. So possibly a bit of a snow event on Thursday morning in the northern half of the country. Rain down in the south. Also very wet morning on Thursday. Then we have a drier interlude Thursday night into Friday. More wet and windy weather coming in off the Atlantic though through Friday. And it just carries on into the weekend. This looks pretty stormy again and very wet as well next weekend, or this coming weekend, and it just carries on. We move up towards day 10, and there's another bout of wet weather sweeping in off the Atlantic. More hill snow associated with that across Scotland. By the time we get through to day 10, we're in a generally colder air mass, and showers are turning readily wintry across many parts of the country by day 10, which is of course the 20th of February. So these are the options on the table within the ECM ensembles today for day 10, which is the 20th of February. 34 members of the ECM ensembles have low pressure to our northwest, high pressure to our southwest, and we're bringing in a west-southwesterly wind. Unsettled, particularly for the north, a little bit drier for the south, quite mild. 17, including the operational run, that's the run we've just been discussing. Further south with the low pressure and the jet stream, so very unsettled and a little bit colder as well. So the operational ECM run was a minority option within the ECM ensembles today, although it did have support from the ECM control run as well. And then we go through to 2 weeks' time. These are the options that we've got. This gets to 25th of February. 21 members of the ECM ensembles have high pressure just to our south-southwest, low pressure to our northeast, generally bringing in winds from a westerly direction. Could be a little bit chilly, maybe a bit of a northwesterly component, and a little bit drier there as well, close to that ridge. 19 with high pressure sitting just to our south-southeast, low pressure out to the northwest, so raising pressure with those 19, turning drier and probably quite spring-like, although you wouldn't be able to rule out frosty nights, I don't suppose. And then 11 looking cold and unsettled with a trough in over Scandinavia. A bit of a hint of a mid-Atlantic ridge, and probably bringing in a wind, certainly from the northwest, maybe even a little bit northerly. So that's obviously the coldest option in 2 weeks' time, but it is more of a minority option. Still, the hints are there of some higher pressure as we get towards the final week of February, but nothing definitive still yet in terms of breaking us out of this very unsettled weather pattern. Let's see what CFSV2 has to say finally. So these are 500 millibar heights broken down into week periods. The first week period takes us from the 10th to the 16th of February. The coming week is obviously very, very unsettled. Low pressure is unleashed, zonality goes on, and so does further bouts of wind and rain as well. Into week 2, it's the 17th to 23rd of February, still Atlantic driven, low pressure to the northwest. Heights are rising to the south, but I think this is probably still away from far southern county. I think this is still probably a very unsettled week that we have again there from the 17th to 23rd of February. However, by week 3, there is a change. This was the 24th of February to the 1st of March. Then we have a much stronger anticyclonic influence sitting over and just to our east-southeast. Low pressures up to the northwest. Potentially that could be quite spring-like. That could bring a lot of dry weather, certainly. Maybe some quite cold nights with frost and fog, but by day in the late February sunshine getting ever stronger, I think that will feel relatively spring-like with temperatures maybe into the low teens Celsius. And then looking not too bad again in week 4 actually. This would be 2nd to the 8th of March. Above average heights sort of over and just to our southeast, covering much of Europe, low pressure up to the northwest. Overall, again, I would have thought mainly dry, especially for southern parts of the country, and probably quite spring-like. Temperature anomalies in the week ahead with CFSV2 from the 10th to 16th of February. A little bit cooler than average for Scotland and Ireland, a little bit milder than average for England and Wales. It's not the warmest of weeks that we've had through this winter, let's put it that way. Then we go through to week 2, which is the 17th to 23rd of February. Overall, milder than average through all parts of the country. Significantly milder than average for week 3. This is 24th of February to 1st of March. It might be underplaying the frost potential there in week 3, but certainly days, I think, daytimes will be relatively mild and spring-like. And it continues into week 4 as well, the 2nd to the 8th of March, substantially above average temperatures then as well. Finally, precipitation. The coming week from the 10th to 16th of February is substantially wetter than average. It's a very unsettled and wet week to come. Week 2 from the 17th to 23rd of March is wetter than average in the north, near normal in the south. Beginning to go a little bit drier there in week 2, but it's not really till week 3, but it does turn properly drier. So this is 24th of February to the 1st of March. High pressure takes over, and yes, we go drier than average, particularly for southern parts of the country. Perhaps hinting at going a little bit more unsettled again in the north as we get through to week 4, 2nd to the 8th of March, although that's a long way off, of course. So it continues, doesn't it? The onslaught from the Atlantic and the jet stream just goes on and on and on. There's no sign of an end to it within the next week to 10 days anyway, and although there are still hints there, but we may build up some higher pressure for the south for like the final week or so of February, overall it looks like, certainly for the foreseeable future, which is like 7 to 10 days, it looks like the onslaught continues, and we can expect further bouts of heavy rain and maybe gale or severe gale force winds at times as well. There will be colder interludes. We've got one of those at the moment, and that'll last until around the middle of this week as well. But generally, averaging it all out, probably still relatively mild, really, with these westerly winds. So that's how it's looking today. That's your video for today. We shall be back tomorrow with the ECMWF 30-day look ahead of the UK and rest of Europe as well. And of course, we'll have another week to 10-day video update too tomorrow. But for today, that's all for now, and thanks for watching.